Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum to all the Muslims and peace be unto all the non-Muslims. In the last talk, I talked about basically something that the non-Muslims consider extreme, but the Muslims actually this is something beloved to them and beloved to Allah and beloved to the messengers and beloved to the Salaf, the companions of the Prophet, and that was the um, bed. And basically, this is part 4 now, inshallah, and I'm going to talk about another thing that is considered by the kuffar, non-Muslims to be extreme, but in Islam, mashallah, is something that's beautiful. Is something that our sisters should aim for. Is something that every strong Muslim should do, inshallah. And this is talking about the hijab, the jilbab, and the niqab. Um, in this society, Western women and Western men, they look down on the Muslim women's dress. They see it as oppressive. They see it as restrictive. They see it as like men forcing women to cover and this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah. And they really dislike it. They really think it's not her choice, and they really think that this is disgusting, and she should be free to walk around with her private parts hanging out, because that is a liberation in one way or another. I don't know how they came to that conclusion, but they did. But anyway, yeah, it's frowned on in society, and not just by lay people. One of the top people here in England, Jack Straw, one of the main people in government, he said, that basically sisters, the niqab should be banned because um, basically you can't see a woman's face, and when you're talking to a woman, you should be able to see her face because it's 50% of a conversation is seeing the person's face. He forget to realize that one of his own colleagues that works very close to him is completely blind, and he doesn't see anybody he works with, and he meets like hundreds of people every week, and talks to them, and he seems to be doing fine his job. In fact, he seems to get promoted and so forth. So therefore, it's strange that it's got this double standard, especially when Muslim women following the Quran and the Quran, the Sunnah, and the Salaf don't talk to men generally ever, apart from out of necessity, and don't mix with men ever apart from out of like necessity. So for him to say that Muslim women, the when England's supposed to be, what did they said, a hotbed of multiculturalism and stuff like that, and a democracy, and everyone has the freedom to believe what they want and live life they want. It's strange that you could say that, that sisters shouldn't be able to wear niqab because, can't see their faces. And if you can't see their faces, then when you're talking to them, you can't have a proper conversation, But how can your blind person who can't see anyone who he talks to, how can he, have a full and meaning conversation with people? And he's been having that job for most probably more than like 10 years now. So we see the double standards. But anyway, to cut a long story short, basically, the hijab in the Western world is seen as something to test, but in Islam it's something beautiful. It's the way that the Mary, the mother of Jesus, peace be upon her, and her son, dressed. It's the best dress that a woman can have, and this is the dress of the believers and everything. And when I say hijab, yeah, I'm talking about hijab and jilbab. I'm not talking about like some sisters like might think that wearing a scarf, yeah, a scarf, and like tight jeans is hijab. This is not hijab. Wearing a scarf and tight jeans is not hijab. Wearing a scarf and how can I say, a long tight skirt is not hijab. Wearing, or even if you wear a proper headscarf, and you wear a t-shirt and jeans, and people can see the shape of your bum and thighs and chest and stuff like this is not hijab. Scarf plus t-shirt, plus this is not hijab. Hijab is supposed to be, inshallah, it's supposed to be, how can I cover all of your hair, none of your hair showing, not far back, covering all of your hair, what I'm saying, all of your body, like the jilbab is like loose, covers all of your hair. A jilbab covers all of your body. It's loose. It's not tight. No one can see your shape. No one can see the shape of your bum, your chest, none of this stuff. It's just all of it is just basically loose and covers your hair properly, and it's a dull color. There's no point in you wearing the correct hijab, but if it's bright red or bright purple, bright blue, or because the whole point when hijab is that Allah created the Muslim woman, as a priceless, invaluable, object. And that's why the Prophet, peace be upon him, said that only two things that should be shown on a woman is her face and her hands, inshallah. But the mothers of the believers, they went even further than that, because they wanted to excel in their in their haya, in their modesty, in being not being seen by men, by basically being people who men didn't see them and they didn't see other men, and they just wanted, because they know that this kind of attitude, this kind of mannerism, this kind of way will get them closer to Jannah, and so forth. So they used to, mashallah, wear the niqab, inshallah, and only keep their beauty for their husband and so forth, and blah blah blah. And yeah, and basically what I was trying to say, so that's what hijab is, what I'm saying, covers all of it, covers all of the hair, and the jilbab, or if the like the basically dress you're gonna wear is gonna be loose, what I'm saying, and doesn't show any figures, not tight, and the color, because if it's perfect but the color's bright and stuff like that, it does the opposite. Or if it's got like designer hijab or designer cloth, it takes it away, because people look out for the CK, people look out for the Christian Dior, people look out for that thing especially, what I'm saying, because it's designer and people want to see designer, things, because you know people give it are cultivated on that. So basically, that's it. The strong sister that's trying not just to get escape the hellfire, not just escape just about getting to Jannah. The sisters that aiming for Jannah and the high levels in Jannah and so forth. She's gonna wear, what I'm saying, the loose, what I'm saying, all her hair covered, not showing her shape, not showing her size, not showing any of the areas of her chest or her bum or anything like that, and dull color. So when she walks and goes about her business, no one notices her, alhamdulillah, inshallah, So alhamdulillah, that's the correct hijab and everything, inshallah. And I'm not hitting, if there's new sisters that happen to be watching this, I'm not hitting you down. I'm talking about sisters that have been in the deen for ages and so forth. For those sisters that just converted, you do what you can, inshallah. And the sisters that are stronger than the deen and wear niqab and hijab and, jilbab and all these things, inshallah, you be soft with them and gentle with them and give them time, just be around them and it will rub off with them, inshallah. So this is something that's beautiful, to Allah and His Messenger, and to basically the Salaf and so forth, and non-Muslims will look at the stream, but like it's a beautiful thing, and it's very strange that nowadays, yeah, that the non-Muslim women and men, yeah, yeah, I can understand why the men don't like hijab. You know what I'm saying? I can understand why the men don't like niqab. I don't understand why non-Muslim men don't like jilbab, niqab, or hijab. Why? Because they want to see girls walking around butt naked so they can enjoy themselves. Obviously, but Western men have messed up the mind of women so much, in society, that Western women actually think feminism, or freedom and liberation is walk around like butt naked, getting attention from guys, because they have such a low self-esteem that if they walked around for a week, and didn't walk around with their breasts hanging out and their bum hanging out, and their belly buttons on display and their knickers on display and all this stuff, they wouldn't get a call from a guy. And to them, if they don't get a call from a guy, then to them, it's they feel like they're not worth anything, because that whistle, that cat call, that oi oi or whatever, that call towards them is a affirmation to them that you are worth something. Whereas a Muslim woman who knows her purpose in life is وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that Allah did not create mankind and jinn except to worship Him. She doesn't need strangers, guys on the streets to tell her you're good looking, you're this, you're nice, or whatever, to feel good about herself. She knows she's good, one, because she created and she's fulfilling the purpose why she's there, and she's a Muslim by default of being a Muslim, believing that there's no God worthy of worship by right, no monkey, no man, no statue, no animal, and fulfilling that purpose and knowing that she's gonna go to Jannah because that she knows that she's doing well. She doesn't need, a guy to come along unless it's her husband to tell her that she's worth something, But the non-Muslim women, they're supposed to be living in a Western world, with all this freedom and all this democracy in a first world and liberation, yeah. So why is it that they buy clothes that is uncomfortable to them? What makes a Western woman go into whatever shop she's gonna go into, and they got her size, they got smaller than her size, and they got like extra smaller than her size? What makes her, instead of buying her size or large or loose or comfortable or ease into the mind and ease into to the brain and ease into her body, what makes her go and pick up the